There's some of you here that I haven't met. Just by way of introduction, I started as the Scout executive here about 1.5 years ago. I've been involved in scouting most of my life. I'm an Eagle Scout. I was a volunteer scoutmaster of an inner city troop when I got out of college. When I got married, my wife and I had a son. Guess what? When he was 7, he joined the Cub Scouts. My wife became his den leader, and I didn't have a choice. I became the pack committee chairman. When he joined a troop, I became an assistant scoutmaster. And he's an Eagle Scout now. So I've had the opportunity, yes. He's actually a 3rd generation Eagle Scout. My father-in-law is an Eagle Scout also. So 3 generations of Eagles in our family. Yeah, we're proud of that. But I've sat in your chair. I've been on the campouts. I've been to the committee meetings where me and one other guy are the only ones that show up. We look at each other and say, "Oh, I don't know what we did to offend these folks, but we'll try again next month." And I think what you'll find is my focus as your Scout executive is to figure out how our council can help you do as good a job as possible and present a quality program that will keep boys in from Cub Scouting all the way up until they become Eagle Scouts. I think that's the reason that a council exists, is to help our volunteer leaders present a quality program. So when Steve and Mark put together this program tonight, talking about the main thing, that's really our focus. That's the main thing, to see that we have a quality program for our Scouts. And we think the only way to do it is to provide as much support to you as possible. So my job is to, in the next 2.5 hours that I've been given to speak tonight, is to give you a little State of the Union address, and I promise it'll only take about 5 minutes. But I want to tell you just very briefly where we've been, where we're at right now, and where we think we're heading, and then we would certainly welcome your thoughts on that as we go forward. But 2010 really was a pivotal year for this council. We accomplished a lot of things that the council had been working on for a long time. We balanced our budget for the first time in many years. And a lot of that was due to the generosity of people here tonight. Our Friends of Scouting campaign was very successful. Our popcorn drive was very successful. All that helps to support the scouting program. We were able to take a surplus and we were able to put it into our camp properties. So if you've been around the camps, you've seen some nice improvements. If you go down the road a little bit, you'll see our pirate ship. It was sinking a little bit, right? It was listing a little, and it's totally remodeled. It's dry, beautiful on the outside. The sails are on their way. They're here soon, but it's very nice. We replaced the roof on the Hart Dining Hall. So that had been leaking, and that's totally repaired. Brand new roof on there. Lots of improvements at Russet. Well, before we leave here, the road going into the Nelson Training Center. I had a volunteer say that he had told his daughter when they were going to camp, "Don't worry about the bumps." He said, "Maybe before you die, they'll fix it." And he was shocked that when he pulled into camp that the road was repaved, and it's beautiful. They did a very nice job. Up at Russica Falls, lots of improvements at Russica Falls. A new shotgun range. We renovated the trading post. New equipment in the dining hall and the handicap campsite. Totally redone. It's beautiful. And also last year we added 4 new staff positions called Quality Unit Executives. How many of you know who your district executive is? Okay, that's a good sign that most of you know who your district executive is. We've actually added 4 new positions to our council staff last year called Quality Unit Executives, where a district focuses on building a quality district. The quality units focus on building quality Cub Scout packs and becoming experts at Cub Scout operations and serving as coaches and counselors to Cub Scout leaders. I know as a new Cub Scout leader, I needed more help then than once I got into the Boy Scout troop. Well, we had some years under our belt and there was a lot of experience there, but we're putting some focus on the Cub Scout leaders. So all of that resulted last year in that we had a balanced budget, we grew our membership, and we earned the National Quality Council Award, which is a fantastic recognition. And just in the last couple months this year, those of you who went to the council recognition dinner in February, we had the Chief Scout Executive from Dallas, Texas, come and speak. It was an amazing turnout. We sold out the ballroom at the Conshohocken Marriott, had about 400 people there. He gave an amazing talk, a very emotional and inspirational talk about what scouting has done for him and the future of scouting in America. It was a great evening. In June, we had our big council fundraising event downtown. It was a record night, and the National Volunteer President for the Boy Scouts of America came, a guy named Rex Tillerson, who, in his spare time, he's the chairman of ExxonMobil, the second largest company in the world. But he took time out of his schedule to join us for our fundraising event. He's an Eagle Scout. His father's an Eagle Scout. His son's an Eagle Scout. His son's a district executive somewhere in Texas. I don't know where he's at, but he's certainly, we're very fortunate to have this fantastic leadership at the top, and they want our council to be successful, and they are providing lots of resources to help us improve our camps and improve our marketing and our outreach efforts. And then finally, this summer, we're just wrapping up a fantastic summer camp season. Rustic Falls, we had the highest attendance in a long time. I don't know if it's forever or certainly a long time. How many of you went to Rustic Falls this summer? I went almost every week to the leaders' meetings. The reviews were very, very strong. Excellent reviews on a high-quality program, a great staff. And we have several of the camp management staff here. Chris Brenner, our camp director, Steve Ranjo, our assistant director, and John Bickle, program director. Raise your hands. Let's give them a round of applause. We also had some very exciting Cub Scout camp programs this summer. Our day camp programs were headed up by Betty Ann Atkinson, and a number of volunteer day camp directors are here. Betty Ann's up top there. Our weekends at Garrison sold out. We had, I forget, 5 or 6 weekends that sold out right here. Every one of these spots were taken and filled with Cub Scouts every weekend. Regina, where's Regina? Was the director and the coordinator for that. Where's Regina? She's probably working somewhere. And then we were very proud to reopen Camp Hart for Cub Scout resident camp, for Cub Scouts that want to spend a whole week camping. And Dave Bryan recruited a staff of about 20 folks who ran a very successful Cub Scout resident camp. And all of this has happened leading up to right now and the fall, where we are poised to recruit over 3,000 new Cub Scouts and probably about 400 or 500 new Boy Scouts to your packs and troops, and a number of new venture crew members. And they're going to be experiencing this great program that we know changes lives. So we're thrilled to have you here. And that's a little bit about what we've accomplished in the past and where we're at right now. And I just want to spend the last couple minutes telling you about where we think we're heading in the future. And you're going to have an opportunity to kind of comment on that in the next couple months. But as you heard Steve mention, for about the past 9 months, we've been going through what's called a strategic planning process. And if you do this at work, you know strategic planning is all about stepping back from the day-to-day crises and all the busyness and sitting there and asking the big questions. Where are we now? Where do we want to be in the future? And how do we go about getting there? And we've assembled a steering committee of top business leaders and top scouters throughout the council. We formed them into 9 different focus groups. They looked at different parts of the council operation. We have over 200 volunteers that have been working at this for the past 9 months. We had a board retreat last Monday. We had 47 board members show up for half a day on a Monday in August. It was pretty amazing. And as you heard, in September, we'll be presenting the formal plan to the board for their approval. Then we're going to go out in October and November and present it at each of our district roundtables. Would you like a sneak peek about what the board is going to hear about in a couple weeks? Would you? Sneak peek? It won't cost any extra. All right, well, there are, get my notes here, basically 4 major themes. You heard the first already. The major goal of our strategic plan is to figure out how to improve the quality of scouting so that we can keep boys in longer, or long enough that we can have a permanent impact on their leadership skills, their physical fitness, their understanding of citizenship, and their character. If a boy joins scouting and stays in for 2 or 3 meetings, are we having an impact on them for the rest of their life? If they stay for 4 or 5 months, are we having an impact? Maybe not. In fact, the national studies say they got to stay in for 5 years. And if they stay in for 5 years, we know that we're having a permanent positive impact on who they are. Now, I've seen it in my own son. I've seen it in myself. We know the program works. So our goal as a council is to figure out how do we build a quality program that keeps kids in for at least 5 years, and then we know we've had a positive impact and we've accomplished our mission. Does that make sense? Okay? We think the way to do that is to improve our support to you as volunteer leaders. So one of the things you're going to hear next is an effort to get more people to training, which is where we think it starts, and then look at other ways in which we can support you through personal coaching and counseling as you encounter challenges in your scouting journey. So that's number one. Number two is we want to renovate our camps and our offices, or office, depending on what happens with our downtown office. Are any of you in favor of renovating our camps? Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. We have a number of volunteers involved with that. Mike Coyne, our camping chairman, raise your hand. Chuck Tomlin is chairing our Musser Redevelopment Committee. A gentleman named Pat Brala is chairing our Properties Committee. I don't think Pat's here tonight. I haven't seen him yet. But we've got a lot of folks who have been helping these folks in developing the plans, and we're in the process right now of finalizing a master plan for each of our camps that says this is where we are now, this is what we want to look like 5 years from now. They put together the cost projections. It's a big number, and our goal is to raise that big number so that the camps are ready for our scouts and for the next generation of scouts. So that's number two. In plain terms, it's running a capital campaign to renovate our camps and our office. Number three is we realize we've got to be more proactive in letting people know who the Boy Scouts of America really are. When our Chief Scout Executive was here in February, one of the things that really hit home was he said that we have hid our light under the bushel for too long, and we've let other people define who we are, instead of being proactive and saying, this is who the Boy Scouts of America are, this is what we're seeking to do for young people today. He said, let's burn the bushels, let's let people know who we really are, and that's the third point of our strategic plan. We want to be proactive in marketing scouting to the community and let people know who we are. And the last point is, we've heard this loud and clear, we want to expand traditional scouting in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you. We have right now about 17,000 young men and women involved in Cub Scouting, Boy Scouting, and venturing in our council. 17,000. There's only about, how many in Philadelphia? 4,000 of those 17 in the city of Philadelphia. We have one district that covers the southern half of the city that only has about 300 or 400 boys in it. The whole southern half of the city. We got to do something different to make sure that boys in the city, particularly low-income boys, are involved in this program. And that'll be a major effort for us in the next 5 years, is to expand scouting in every neighborhood, in every part of our council. So that's kind of where we're heading, and as I said, in October and November, we'll be coming out to Roundtables, and we'll be presenting this to you in more detail and give you the opportunity for some feedback. There's only one reason we do this, is because we believe in the program. We know what it can do to impact kids, and something must be happening because everybody's walking around behind me. So I guess that means my time is up. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thanks for what you do. We really appreciate it.